Let's welcome in Joe Vardon, who joins us right now to talk about your Cleveland Cavaliers, as well as the rest of the NBA. He's from The Athletic. Follow him on Twitter, @Joe Vardon. He's on the Fan Hotline. Hello, Joe.
Vardon, do you support this sports washing involved with the Emirates and the Cup? What's going on here?
Don't answer that.
You're throwing too much at me. I mean, I'm sitting here like rocking out to Michael Stanley, wondering how many of your listeners could say who that was or remember that time.
I will keep his memory alive. It's until I die that maybe people start to forget.
And then you've got me thinking about the 8 drinks for Halloween tomorrow night and thinking about whether I can match you. So we'll have to see on that one.
Oh, I've taken down many a good man, and I'll take you down with me. I will tell you this, though. I can't do it tomorrow night, unfortunately, because I got Friday Night Touchdown. Saturday night's the night we do it. But I don't know. I'm starting to get older. Maybe I'm starting to show my age a little bit, Joe. I'm not sure.
Well, you want to talk about showing your age? Wife and I are going to Bryan Adams on Saturday, and we can't wait.
Best days of my life.
Oh, it's going to cut like a knife.
That's right, baby.
Oh, my God, that's great. Joe Vardon joining us here on the show. Joe, all right, now that we've had our fun, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Is Evan Mobley ever going to live up to his potential? Is he a disappointment for your Cleveland Cavaliers? I was waiting for Lyman to do something there. He didn't do anything.
He's not a disappointment. But as we watch, like I was there with them at Madison Square Garden last week, and it was very clear that they were going to try to run the offense through him, especially in the first half, to the point where Donovan really wasn't involved. I think he had 7 shots in the first 2 quarters, and sort of, they were trying to use Evan as though he were a Jason Tatum or even a LeBron. I know the comparisons to Garnett are there, but, offenses have evolved since Garnett played. So that's what they were trying, and that didn't work. And so, I think that with Mobley, we have probably a generational talent as a defender. And I do think he continues to improve offensively. It's okay if you have to throw it to him. I think he has developed enough as a 3-point shooter that somebody has to run out there and check him, and he can get it off the glass and run up the floor himself. But I just don't think that we are seeing, at least at this point in his career, that he is someone who should begin plays in half-court set offense the way that, some of the other versatile, bigger players in our league have been able to do. So, can they win that way? Yes. I still contend, and I don't mean to just cut off the debate, but the challenge for this team is not Evan. The challenge is 2 small guards. They are excellent players in their own right. There are only 3 teams in NBA history that have won with 2 guards who are 6'3" or under. That's what we have here in Cleveland. So I'm not knocking either player, but I'm just saying that's what history tells us. And if they want to break that mold, then they have to show that they can do that.
Joe Vardon with us right now. All right, Donovan Mitchell last night just probably should not have played. I think maybe because it was nationally televised. He knew, inside the NBA was going to be on at halftime. Maybe that had something to do with it. So he played, and then pretty clearly, I think he had his last basket, 10 minutes left in the second quarter, and then he was abysmal in the second half. So it was an opportunity for other guys to shine. You saw some good things from some, like Tyson, and I do think it's a good opportunity for guys to take that step forward. With Mobley, it just seems like they told him, go out, shoot a bunch of threes, handle the ball, and he's just been very mechanical in doing so. None of it seems to be in rhythm, and so I do wonder if this is going to mess with them, given that you're going to be getting guys back, especially Darius Garland. If right now it looks like it's out of sorts, what's it going to look like when Darius comes back and they still want Evan to be aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, this is this is, I mean, you're hitting it right on the head, and this is what they're trying to do here earlier in the year. Like, it is very clear that they are trying to force the next step in the evolution of Evan Mobley's game, and as what we're seeing right now is it's clunky. I would suggest that maybe when Darius comes back, that he's another facilitator that helps get Evan in better spots, so that maybe Evan has the ball in his hands with 15 seconds on the clock instead of 20, giving him a chance to maybe get set up a little bit better and then catch it and go. I think if Evan could be a player simply who catches it with 15 seconds left and is in a position to make a move, he can learn that sort of next step of being able to catch it and go quickly. Like, that's when LeBron, went from great to all world. That's when Tatum's at his best, and so on and so forth. So I'm not worried about that. And I think I would also say, like, I had sort of a snarky joke that I had all teed up for you guys, but we're not going down that path.
Let's go down the path right now.
Well, I was going to say something like, well, what are you guys going to be for Halloween? And then you would say, and then I would say, well, at this time of year, your costume and what you're going to be is more important than what is happening on an NBA floor. And the players would agree, especially with veteran teams. So you're seeing these hiccups and these bumps in the road right now. It's not even Halloween yet. And veteran teams sort of know this, and they bide their time. They sort of ease into the season. And I think we've seen the reverse with these Cleveland teams that have been really, really good out of the gates in these years and then sort of fall off as we get to March. And I think that's because they were a younger team. Like, this is an actual veteran team now that I think truly understands not only how long the regular season is, but when it is important to be playing well. So, we're all concerned about how clunky the offense looks and how Evan can't do this and that. And we're talking about Jared Allen and, Lonzo is shooting 20% and, we got two guys out for a while. This is all good. This is all actually really good that they kind of stink right now, or that there's some real problems. And it would be fine by me if they take 2 or 3 months to work through them. Start to figure things out in January. Start to figure things out mid-January and be awesome when you come back from the All-Star break. The Cavs don't do that. They haven't done that in their entirety of this sort of next run after LeBron. They've been either really good now or good then bad and then awesome in December and January. And to a fault, every year they have a really hard time after the All-Star break. So let's do this now. Let's get beat by the Boston's JV team or whatever you want to say, and have a really hard time in New York and be clunky on offense now and have guys out now. Let's do that now because they'll be better for it when the weather comes back.
You made me think of something here differently. Like, there was a caller who called in today, and he's like, you guys are focusing on the wrong guy. You guys need to be focused on Jared Allen, not Evan Mobley. And I was like, well, I think out of the core four, I think the guy who's the most easiest move is Jared Allen. But then, I know about the second apron. Lyman tells me all about it. You tell me all about it, Joe. You guys are great with info. But then it made me think, I go, well, wait a minute. You just said 2 or 3 months. If there's pain, that's fine. Like, that would tell me that, no, they're going to keep what they have, and maybe they're just not, they wouldn't move on from Jared Allen. Maybe that's just a different thought that we shouldn't even have.
Yeah, I think so. I think, I do believe that there have been some offers made to Cleveland over the last, however, whether it's a year, whether it's a few months. It's not that the phone doesn't ring about Jarrett, but the return for a Jarrett trade has not been to what the Cavs would want. So then you have to think about where they are in terms of, like you mentioned it, the second apron, which I actually have a big story out about that today, that the players across the league don't like it for a number of reasons. But for the Cavs, one of the things is they are spending so much money on their players that it's almost impossible for them to make any kind of big trade. Like they could trade Jarrett, but it would pretty much have to be they couldn't take him and somebody else to go get that next caliber player. Like they would anything that they would get for Jarrett would either have to be an aggregation from the other teams. That's two players coming back for one, and to make Jarrett's salary like that, those would just be like sort of middle of the road players. And Jarrett's not going to get you someone better. So, we kind of have to understand that because of league rules, the Cavs have to stick it out with this group. Most likely. Now, could you? I'm not advocating for this. I'm not saying that the Cavs are looking at this, but could you trade Darius? For instance, Darius Garland makes the same amount of money as James Harden. Okay, so if you want to think about that, you could make that trade. The salaries aren't in front of me, but I always talk about, well, wouldn't it be interesting if Donovan played for the Celtics and Jaylen Brown played for Cleveland? The guard, I think my bigger point here is the guards. One of those guards would be maybe how you could make a 1-for-1 trade and change your team. I don't know about for the better, but it would be different enough that you'd have a different look than what we've had the last couple of years. But by and large, this year, it's probably going to be this group, and that's okay. I was thinking about this today, like if everybody's favorite sport in the NFL, like how much continuity seems to matter, and sometimes it takes a number of years with that same coach that you get really frustrated by, or with these players that seem to take a long time to develop, and then they break through. And that certainly has been the Cleveland model here. They've stuck by their guys. And again, some of it's because of league rules, but they're going to ride with this group. And then if it doesn't work out again, I think you make some really hard choices the following summer. But yeah, this is the group, and they've been a very strong regular season team. I'm not ready to say they can't do it in the spring.
All right, Joe, quickly, the gambling story that rocked the NBA and really sullied, if you will, the debut of the season. Where are we a few weeks later now that kind of everybody understands it's just going to be really hard for teams to just keep everything a secret about injury reports and, the bad actors were dealt with? Where do we go from here?
It's hard to answer that one quickly. I know that I need to. I would say right now, one, we probably know more about gambling than we used to because of these partnerships between the leagues and the sports books, which is a little bit of irony, I would say. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm not sure how widespread this is. I don't know. But what I do know is I've spent the last however many days looking at this, is that there are some connections between all the charges and all the cases. There are some actors that nobody really knows. They're not NBA players. Actually, one of them is, and we don't know the name yet. But there are ways that these cases are connected. So it's kind of Anthony, we're kind of in like a muddled state right now. We don't know how widespread this is. We do know that gamblers are gaining access to NBA talent, and they are manipulating them. We also know right now, and this is the last thing I would say, right now, the outcomes of the games are not being impacted. So this isn't the 1919 Black Sox. It's not even the 2006 Toledo Rockets. It's not that. These are individuals who are affecting their own personal behavior on the court to impact prop bets. So where do we go from here? Do we cancel all prop bets? Probably not. Too much money on the table. Can we outlaw shorting a prop bet so you can't bet against the guy? Maybe that's the answer. But there's a lot of work to be done, I think, by everybody involved, whether it's Adam Silver, the Players Association, the sports books, us as journalists who are definitely still digging on this. There's a lot more to come out, I would say.
Joe Vardon from The Athletic, at Joe Vardon on Twitter. You're awesome. Joe, thank you so much for the time, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Joe Vardon on the Fan Hotline.